In this video, I'm gonna give you the roadmap to teach yourself any skill in half the time. The only gap between where you wanna be and where you are is skills. And every day you spend not learning those skills, you're actively choosing to remain trapped. And the reason you're trapped is because you've been sold the lie that you need multiple hours a day to see any real progress. That's the old way of thinking. The reality is you can get genuinely proficient at any skill with less than 1 hour of focused practice per day. And I've spent hundreds of hours deconstructing the methods of the world's fastest learners, and this is the one pattern that holds across every field. I know this works because I've used it to learn multiple skills, and I'm about to show you exactly how you can do the same. In this video, I'm gonna give you 3 things. First, I'll walk you through my 5-phase roadmap to learn any skill in half the time. Second, I'll show you the accelerated tactics to make real progress in your first week. And third, I'll give you the ultimate framework to choose the right skill so you never waste months on the wrong thing. The first thing we're gonna cover is the complete 5-phase roadmap for learning any skill. This is what turns that overwhelming goal of learning a skill into a step-by-step process you can actually learn. If I asked you right now, how you're gonna learn a new skill, let's say guitar, juggling, or new language, what would be your plan? You'd probably head to YouTube, watch a dozen tutorials, hear one guy say this, hear another guy say this, and hear all this conflicting information, and you have no idea who to trust or what to focus on. But what if you had a simple filter for all that noise? What if you knew exactly what to focus on and when? And that is what this 5-phase roadmap gives you. The 5 phases are the foundational phase, the precision phase, the adaptation phase, the mastery phase, and the maintenance phase. And when you have a map like this, you're no longer trapped, you're no longer guessing. You always know what phase you're in and what to focus on. So to make this even more clear, I'll give you a quick example and then show you how you can use it. Let's use ventriloquism. In the foundational phase for the skill, just learning to say the vowels A, E, I, O, U without moving your lips, that's the entire goal of the first stage. Then in precision phase, you can take that and refine it and get better. Now you're learning the tricks to substitute hard sounds like replacing B with D so you can actually make words. And you get what I'm saying? Every phase you get better just like that. Then in adaptation phase, you take that clean technique and you add pressure. So for ventriloquism, that means practicing with a puppet in your hand or trying to hold a conversation while you're doing it. Or you're learning to use that skill in any situation. That is the goal. See what I did there? Next is mastery phase. This is where you define your finish line. For ventriloquism, are you trying to be a professional performer or are you trying to just be good enough to impress your friends? You decide how good you want to be. You decide how good you need to be, and that becomes your goal. And finally, the maintenance phase. This is just about keeping that skills sharp. For ventriloquism, that might mean practicing your substitution for 10 minutes a few times a week so you don't get rusty. So now that you see what the roadmap looks like for ventriloquism, now let's talk about how you can apply this to any skill you want to learn. Now, you can do this the old school way that I originally did, where you grab a notebook and you start digging through YouTube videos, Reddit posts, old articles, just manually write down all the fundamentals, what intermediate looks like, what advanced looks like, what other people are saying, and organize it into these 5 stages and update it as you learn. It's effective, but it takes a lot of time. The good news is you don't have to do that anymore. I made a prompt that builds this roadmap for you. I want you to just pause and screenshot this prompt here. All you have to do is replace the skill in the bracket with whatever you want to learn. You can just pop this into any AI chatbot and it will spit out a good customized 5-phase roadmap for any skill you could think of. You'll save hours on tedious research so you don't have to do the old school way, and you can hit the ground running with a clear plan and you can just update it as you learn more. Now you have the roadmap, you know exactly what to learn and in what order, but having the plan is only half the battle. In the next few strategies will help you make faster progress at any stage, so let's get into it. Now that you have the plan, I'm gonna give you the 2 core principles of rapid progress. First, how to remove bottlenecks so you can get more high quality reps in the same amount of time. And second, how to use specific tactics to get through the boring phases faster than you think possible. Now let's focus on what actually makes progress happen. Your progress isn't limited by effort, it's limited by your biggest bottleneck. If you want more high quality reps in the same amount of time, you don't try harder, you remove whatever is slowing you down. If I asked you right now to double your reps in whatever skill you're learning, what is the real reason you can't? Most people would say, I don't have enough time. That's not true. The real answer is usually a bottleneck. Some common bottlenecks: environment. Maybe your setup slows you down. If it takes you 10 minutes just to start practicing, that friction kills consistency and reduces your total reps. Maybe it's distraction. You're not fully focused. Maybe too many things are going on when it's your time to practice and you can't get a quiet room to do your skill. Maybe it's clarity. Maybe you don't know exactly what to practice, so you drift. One day you practice this, you watch another YouTube video, you practice this. Don't try to force more effort out of the same setup. Find your biggest bottleneck and remove it. If your environment is the issue, reduce friction so it naturally supports getting reps, making it easy to start, easy to continue, make it hard to get interrupted. If distraction is the issue, Remove anything that splits your attention so your reps stay clean and focused. If clarity is the issue, define exactly what a good rep is before you even start so you're not guessing while you practice. The key is this: the more bottlenecks you remove, the more high quality reps you can fit into the same amount of time, and that compounds over time. Now let's move on to the second principle, interleaving. Interleaving means rotating between related subskills instead of drilling the same one over and over again. Say you have 30 minutes to practice Spanish. Most people spend the entire 30 minutes drilling vocab until they feel like they've got it. Instead, split your practice into 3 10-minute blocks. 10 minutes for vocab, 10 minutes of grammar, and 10 minutes for listening. The key is to rotate between different but related subskills instead of spending that entire session on one. It feels slower because you're constantly switching gears. Every time you switch, your brain has to retrieve what you just practiced, instead of relying on short-term memory, and that's exactly what makes this stick. Language learning just makes this easy to visualize, but the same principle works for almost any skill because you're training your brain to repeatedly retrieve different patterns instead of staying on autopilot. Before every practice session, identify 2 to 4 related subskills. Instead of finishing one before moving on to the next, rotate between them in short blocks in a set number of reps, a set number of time. The goal isn't to feel smooth, it's to force your brain to repeatedly recall each subskill. So now you have 2 core principles that will accelerate your progress, but none of that matters if you're learning the wrong skill. So let's fix that. Most learning problems aren't learning problems at all. They're symptoms of choosing the wrong skill. Fix that first and everything else becomes easier. You ever wonder why you can't stay consistent? Why your motivation disappears the second things get boring? Why you jump from skill to skill, always chasing the next shiny object? You tell yourself you just need to be more disciplined, more focused, but you've already tried that and it doesn't work. The problem starts long before you ever watch your first tutorial. It starts with the skill you choose. And if you start with the wrong skill, every habit, every study session, every ounce of discipline becomes an uphill battle. That's why you need a better filter, not one based on what's trendy or what seems easy, but one based on a deeper set of criteria. Here's the filter you can use to choose a skill you'll actually stick with. The identity reinforcement test. Make sure the skill is tied to who you want to become. This is what keeps you going when motivation fades. Most people choose skill based on what they want to do, not who they want to be. When things become hard, which they will be, there's nothing deeper holding you to this skill. So instead of asking, do I want to learn this skill? Ask, does this skill move me closer to the person I want to be? The key is this: you want to tie whatever you're doing to the identity, not just as an activity, but as proof of who you are becoming. When the skill reinforces your identity, or it's a part of your identity, it stops feeling like a task. It stops needing motivation, and it starts feeling like something that is aligned with who you are. And that makes practice so much easier. And every time you practice, you're reinforcing a version of yourself, and that's what keeps you consistent and not needing to use motivation so much. If the skill doesn't connect to the identity you're building, it will always feel optional, and anything that feels optional gets skipped, dropped, justified on why to do it later. Number 2, the logistics check. Ask yourself 3 brutally honest questions before you commit to anything. Number 1, how much time can you realistically commit to this skill per week? 2, energy. Do you have the energy for this skill right now? Match the skill to your energy. Some skills require high energy, some can be done on a low energy state. Number 3, seasonality. What's going on in your life right now? Are you in a busy season, a stable season that you can learn this skill? Is a lot of things going on in your life? Can this skill actually fit into this season of your life right now? If this skill fails the logistics check, it's not a failure, it just might not fit into your life right now. Either fix some things or put it into a future skill to do. To make this a little easier, I put everything we're covering into a simple worksheet. It'll guide you through the entire process, including a few things we'll go over later. You can grab it from the link in the description. So before you commit to any skill, start by running it through these 2 filters. Does it align with who you want to become, and can you actually sustain it in your life? So let's recap. You now have the complete system of learning any skill and sticking with it. First, you have the 5-phase roadmap to give you clarity on what to learn and when. You're no longer guessing, and you have a map from foundation to mastery. Second, you have 2 principles of accelerated progress. You know how to get more high quality reps by removing your bottlenecks, and you know how to make those reps stick by using interleaving. And third, you have a skill selection framework to make sure you're investing your time in a skill that aligns with your identity and actually fits into your life. That's the system. Plan, accelerate, and pick the right thing. Now you have everything you need to stop jumping skill from skill and finally build something that lasts. If you have any questions, let me know. The worksheet's down in the description. And until next time, you luau.